camera.
If I look at me, do I look like I'm not looking?
We're live, it's fine.
Oh, hi.
So, hi guys. If you're watching on the replay, thank you very much for joining in. My name is Claire Carrington and I'm founder of Aspire Business Women. And with me tonight, I have got Kerry O Sullivan, who is a friend of mine who I've known for about 18 months now. And I wanted to bring her in because she does something completely different. Although we've been on similar journeys, we've been on very different journeys as well, haven't we, Kerry?
Yeah.
Yeah. and if you've read the blurb about what Kerry's going to talk about, you might be thinking, why is she coming on to talk about sex? And what's sex got to do with business? But that's not what it's about. Kerry.
Hello.
Tantra is the word for this evening. Tell us more about Tantra.
Well, for me, Tantra isn't just about sex. Obviously, sex does come into it because a lot of what we do as tantric practitioners is we awaken the sexual energy within your body. But it's, for me personally, and there's lots of different, if you went into Google and put in Tantra, it'll come up with lots of different kind of meanings for Tantra. But for me, it's all about love and it's all about connection to yourself and allowing yourself to receive love in such a special way. So for me on my Tantra journey, I've never ever really been able to receive love. I've always given so much love. And for me with Tantra, it's about that giving and receiving and that being fluid between two people, or on your when you work on your own, just to really allow yourself to feel something in that moment, really feel it and not to be distracted by anything else. And it's about connection ultimately.
I think what you hit the nail on the head there, where you said about giving. And I know that there's going to be probably 90% of the women, if not all of the women in this group, will be guilty of giving so much. And we're not just talking about our romantic partners, are we? We give all the time.
Yeah.
To different people in different ways. But how often, even receiving a compliment can be difficult, can't it?
Yeah, and to be honest, that was one of the big things. I mean, if anyone had said anything to me like, I like your dress, I go, oh, thanks, this thing, it was from a charity shop. Or I would always downplay a compliment, or I'd always just throw a compliment back right at them. So one of the things that I've kind of got used to now over the years, and it still kind of makes me sort of pinch myself when I do it. When someone gives me a compliment, I just go, thanks, thank you. Yeah, I do feel quite nice.
I did exactly that. The last time we met, I was wearing a top jacket thing, and everybody was going, oh, I really like that, and I was like, oh, I got it in the charity shop, it was only £3. Yeah, because I was proud of the fact that it only cost me £3, but I wasn't accepting the compliment.
No, you wasn't. You were kind of, again, it's about being in that moment, and you were just throwing it straight back at someone else to receive some compliment or receive some sort of reaction, rather than you just sit with that reaction, sit with that feeling of someone giving you something special, which is a compliment at the end of the day.
But is it like an innate trait to, when somebody gives you a compliment, to reject it, to go bashful? And do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel natural accepting a compliment without giving one back. Do you have to give one back?
No, I don't. No, definitely not.
If I sat there and said nothing and just said, "Oh, thank you," I think I would feel a bit weird.
But thank you is giving something back, isn't it? It's giving gratitude. It's giving gratitude for what you've just received. So you are getting something back. They are getting something back from you, and they're getting the joy on your face of you receiving something, of you actually receiving that compliment. So I'm just going to turn my Facebook off. It's clicking away. Yeah, that's what they're getting back, is that the fact that you've accepted that compliment. Because actually, the person who gives you that compliment isn't getting anything back if you just throw something back at them. They're just having to try and accept what you're giving them. You know what I mean? So practice, because you know what? When you do it, when you really do receive, whether that's a compliment, whether that's touch, the feeling is just amazing when you allow yourself to really receive something.
It is. So you said that this has been like it's taken you a few years to learn this, tell us more about your journey and how you got involved in the whole Tantra thing.
Well, Tantra's actually only been this year, Tantra.
It has,
but in terms of self-development, well, I worked in media. I used to be account director in media, and I absolutely loved my job. But
very
my life...
corporate.
Very corporate, yeah. And my life sort of 2 years ago was I was on the hamster wheel, I call it, just going to work every day, coming home, trying to juggle everything, keeping myself so busy, constantly moaning that I never had time for myself, but never allowing myself to have time for myself because I was constantly booking stuff in, keeping myself busy, doing stuff for everyone else all the time, and never, ever just giving myself breathing space. But the thing was, when I did give myself breathing space, I absolutely hated it. I hated that silence. I just tried to keep myself, I was like, oh no, I need to keep myself busy again. I don't like this silence. I need to keep going, because when I gave myself silence, that's when the mind started. That's when I used to hear the stuff that I didn't want to hear. And I never really realised that until I gave up my job 2 years ago. And I gave up my job because I'd lost quite a few people in my life young. And a few of my friends had had cancer and stuff. And I just realised, you know what, life is too short. I'm going to just go for it. I don't know what the future holds, but I know it's something more than what I've got right now. And everyone thought I was having a bit of a midlife crisis. And to be honest, I probably was, but it was a bloody good one, if that. So I left my job. And then I started meditating. And that was the first thing. So I went from the madness into this meditation course for a week where I had to do twice a day, 20-minute deep meditations. And my mind started going loopy, like honestly, like the stuff that was going on in my mind, I thought I was cracking up. I was like, where is all this stuff coming from? And a lot of it was around sexual stuff. And I remember saying to my meditation teacher, like, why am I having these crazy ideas about doing all this crazy stuff around sex? And she was like, just go with it, just process it. I didn't understand it. And it basically was because for years and years and years, I'd been suppressing parts of me that were kind of trying to come out. But because I was keeping myself so busy and never allowing myself to really open up and be who I wanted to be, at this moment where I was in silence, my mind and my body was saying, hello, I'm ready. Are you ready now?
And how long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Yeah. So 2 years ago in September that was. And then then after that I kind of thought I was going a bit loopy, like I say. And then I found EAM in the December. That was the September, and in December I found EAM, and I thought, oh, I'll give this a go, give this course a go, you know.
For those who don't know what EAM is, who haven't heard me banging on about it, it's the energy alignment method, which is how Kerry and I met.
Yes, and I just done it again. It was another course, because I've done loads of courses. I just thought, but the biggest thing about this course was that I'd never ever paid for something that was just for me. It was always about learning a skill for other people. So here was something, and it was a massive decision to me to invest in me. And I was like, but I can't do that. And it took me a while to really make that decision. And it was a huge kind of movement in my life, really, where I started to sort of think about myself and actually maybe I do need to invest in me. So, I need to cut a really long story short because I could waffle on about my story for ages. But cut a very long story short, through the EAM whole 10-month journey that I did, I started to discover what this other side of me was, which was coming up through the meditations, and it was all around the sexual stuff. And I basically discovered or remembered that I'd been through a lot of sexual trauma as a child, which I'd suppressed all my life. So that's why I kept on being busy, because I didn't want to deal with anything that I'd kind of suppressed. And that's kind of how I got on with my life. I always did that. If anything went wrong, I just got up and got on with it again and never really dealt with it. So this came up that I remembered a lot of stuff that happened to me when I was young. It all just started to come back up and remember it. And on the back of that, I did lots of stuff through the mind and through EAM, releasing that stuff. And then someone recommended I go and see a Tantric practitioner because they help heal the body and actually release stuff physically from the body. My goodness. That was amazing. And because of the most amazing experience I had with this Tantric practitioner, I thought I have to learn to do this myself in order to set other women free. and other people free from their past. And it's not necessarily around trauma either. It can be anything that's trapped within your body, because your body holds so much tension. And so that's why I trained as a tantric practitioner.
So you mentioned there that you wanted to show other women about, but Tantra, it's all about, well, when I think of Tantra, it's sting.
Oh, yeah.
Going on a long time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not just, it's about women. And I think you've paused on my end. Are you there, Claire? She's gone. Oh, I think Claire might have gone, so I'm not going to waffle on just in case she's not there. She may come back. I was just getting to the good bit now. Her thing says, is it all about sex? And it isn't. It isn't all about sex. I will wait and see. I'll have a drink of water while I'm waiting for Claire. I've got water. I will message the lovely Claire. This is.
Yeah, you there?
Oh, you're back. I've been waffling on, but I don't know if anyone can hear me waffling on. But I've not been waffling on about the sex. I've just been waffling on going, we've just got to the good bit.
That for me. I mentioned the sex word, and
then it paused.
My whole internet went on me, apparently. I'll blame him upstairs, and when I say him upstairs, I don't mean God, I mean Michael. He'll be doing something.
Yeah.
So, is it all about sex? Because I think of sting when I think about Tantra, but you've mentioned freeing women.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is, there's obviously lots of Tantra exercise, there's lots of Tantra practices you can do as a couple and with another person. However, from a woman's perspective, there is so much that we can do with ourselves. I mean, a lot of the, when I do my tantric experiences for women, they are absolutely amazing, because it really allows the woman to really completely surrender. But the biggest part of it is they're able to completely receive love and pleasure and not have to give anything back in return. Because that's one of the biggest things, I think, with sex, is that when you're in a sort of sexual encounter with someone else, it's quite hard to really purely receive, because you're thinking, I need to give back now. They're touching me like this and I need to kind of return the favour. So you're constantly going backwards and forwards with each other and never really receiving in a non-tantric way anyway, because in a tantric way, it's very much about really receiving and really giving. You know, you're in either role. So when my tantric experiences, women are able to completely, they're in a sacred space, completely allowed to just let themselves go. And that's one of the kind of beauties of it, is that the touch and the massage that I do leading up to any intimate areas is just so beautiful and sensual. And a lot of my clients say they've never, ever been touched in that way. And that's why it brings up a lot of emotions for women, because it's not about sex. It's about being touched sensually and honoured.
And their whole, like you said, it doesn't have to be in an intimate way.
Not at all.
You said to me it could be on the face. Yeah,
so like what part of the rituals that I do at the beginning is just about honouring the body. So I'm literally just touching the face or using different things like sarongs and stuff to really honour them, standing there in all of their beauty. And that for me, for some women, it's been the most compelling part of the whole experience, is just to stand there and literally receive that love and feel the most beautiful thing ever, and honoured in such a way.
Brilliant. Now, I want to know how this is going to help women in business.
Well, like basically tapping into your sexual energy, which is what this does. It does tap into your sexual energy, your kundalini energy. Some people may have heard of that. But tapping into your sexual energy enables you to manifest the world. It enables you to really get into flow, into your fullest power, and step into your kind of goddess self. Okay. So for all the women that are listening, for those of you that self-pleasure on a regular basis, if you had a lovely self-pleasuring experience in the morning and you really got yourself to a beautiful place and you experienced some beautiful pleasure with yourself, I bet that day you had the most amazing day in business, because you were able to
carry on.
You were able to really kind of get to your highest level, really, and get to kind of step into that power of you. And so by coming for tantric experience, tapping into tantric exercises and the way that we practice allows you to really understand your body, really connect to your true inner essence. And when you've connected to your true inner essence, you can be so much more powerful in every area of your life, in everything that you do. Because a lot of the time in business, when we struggle with business, is because we've lost that connection. We've lost that connection to ourselves. So when you're kind of like interacting with other people, but you're kind of a bit lost in yourself that day, you're not going to have that engagement. But if you're totally in your power and you're totally in flow and feeling amazing, your connections are going to be beautiful for the whole day, and it will definitely have a massive impact on your business. And just try it and see. I'd say so. I'd say tomorrow.
When you've had a cheeky orgasm, you do walk like with confidence, don't you? You hold yourself differently.
Yeah, and you've had that release, haven't you? You've had that release that you need, and then the everything just, you kind of like skip around all day, don't you? And do you know what? It hasn't even got to be through an orgasm. Sometimes if I've had a really amazing snog with Mark in the morning, sometimes I just go for like a proper full-on snog, and it just awakens you, like it awakens your body.
And it's that connection.
Yeah, it's that spark. It's like having a spark, isn't it? And when you get that spark with yourself, if that's with another person, it awakens you. And that's what this is all about, awakening. So absolutely, it will impact your business because you will be awakened. And so you're going to get more clients that way.
Have you read this book?
Yes. It's amazing.
So when you said about Kundalini energy and all that, if this was my Crete book this year. Recommended, ladies. Definitely. Very much along the lines of what Kerry's talking about this evening. I'd lend you mine, but I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, so. Do you know what? I've not read it cover to cover because I dip in and out of it because I absolutely love it. And there's also so many books. Another book I would absolutely recommend, especially those that are in relationships with men, is David Dedar. It's called The Superior Man. And it's really, really interesting. It talks about sort of masculine and feminine energy. It talks about the kind of how to understand men and their sexual desires and the way that they think. But actually, when I read it, I thought I was reading something about myself because I was so masculine. Before I started on this journey, I was probably so much more masculine than I am feminine. Just because of the stuff I've been through in my life, because of the relationships I've been into. But now I'm definitely embracing my femininity, and that's kind of part of it as well, embracing you as you're in your feminine, in your kind of flirtatious, beautiful playfulness. And so it's really interesting to kind of read some of these books because it will give you some guidance around that and how to embrace that part of you.
And this is something I've learned, and something actually I struggled with at the beginning, was this whole masculine and feminine energy. I've always considered myself more masculine, just in my genes. But I didn't realise that the way you even do work and do business can have a balance of masculine and feminine energy. And I didn't understand which each one was. But Tantra would help with that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But Tantra does, but just you need to understand them really. You might have heard the term polarity. So when another really good questionnaire to fill out is the Tony Robbins one. He has one around polarity, and it really gives you an idea of what your kind of lead, what your not superior, what your dominant, what your dominant kind of person is it more masculine or more feminine? But in order for you to connect with someone, you have to have polarity. So someone needs to be in the masculine, someone needs to be in the feminine, and you can't both be in the masculine or you can't both be in the feminine, because that's when you clash. You know, like the yin and yang single. Yeah. It's about when that matches, that's when you're at polarity. So, and that's again about giving and receiving. That's polarity. Yeah, when one gives, one receives. So if you're both trying to receive or you're both trying to give, it doesn't work and you don't get the connection. So definitely, yeah, look up that as well.
Good recommendation there. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if people want, I'm going to put your page on there, Holistic Kerry, if people want to follow you.
Yeah.
But I know that in the new year, you've got some exciting things coming.
Yes.
For want of a better word.
Yes. So I'm in the midst at the moment of pulling together at the moment it's got kind of, I'm calling it connection and touch program, but it's all about understanding energy, understanding what's going on in your mind. And it's around kind of, do you really love yourself? What we do is we'll explore some of the kind of statements and the things about you to really understand how deep that love is, and have you really found that inner beauty in you? We'll look at the emotions that you go through. So it's not just going to be around intimacy stuff. It's also just going to be around just generally how you feel. Are you in the sort of state of overwhelm quite a lot? How can we kind of clear that, all those feelings that you have? And there's going to be a lot around giving and receiving of love, awakening your body, and how to awaken your body. So there'll be lots of tips and techniques and exercises around how to awaken your body and how to allow yourself to surrender. And then there's going to be it's going to be probably an 8 to 10 week course. I'm just in the middle of trying to figure it out at the moment, but there's going to be lots of sections around touch and intimacy as well, and looking at the kind of chakras and things like that, but how they link to intimacy. So for instance, there's a lot of people that have really bad backs, for instance, and I've worked with a lot of people with bad backs, but it's not actually bad back, because if it's around your kind of sacral chakra, which is like the second chakra up, you know, your root and then your sacral chakra, a lot of it's around sexuality and desire and allowing yourself to really experience pleasure. And so when I've worked with people with tantric massage and release those areas, it's allowed them to expand and really their backaches are basically gone, because what it was tension within their back linked to that sensuality. So there's going to be lots around that. So yeah, and for those people that live closer to me, I'm going to include things around like tantric massage experiences and things like that. But if people don't, it's going to be an online course. There's going to be lots that I can teach people online around sensual massages, how to touch each other, how to touch yourself, and things like that. So yeah, it's exciting. That's going to be coming up in the new year.
Really exciting, and you are so passionate about it, and I'm very excited for you as well, Kerry.
Cool.
So I'm going to share this with everybody via email as well.
Yeah.
So, and I'd like to say thank you very much for coming over and sharing with us all, because it's not a topic that everybody talks about. So I'm excited that we shared it in here as well. Maybe.
And can I say, I only scratched the surface. There is so much more. So I would invite you all to just look into some more around this area of expertise. And get in touch if you've got any questions.
Do you have a group, or is it just your page?
At the moment, I've only got Holistic Kerry, because that's what I've had for like ever. But I need to set up a group, a free group, which is another thing in the pipeline. It's all growing.
But you're in ABW now, so when you do have that group set up, people can share it in the group and let people know.
I will.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we look forward to hearing more about it soon.
Cool. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.